So, hello and welcome to episode number 25 of the Fullstack Network. Yes, the stream is happening. I know this has been uh, question in question because I'm 7 minutes late, but I had to rig the camera situation for the whiteboard. So basically, this is the microphone, kind of scissor arm, and on this, like right here, off the camera, you don't see it. I have a camera, another camera mounted. I know, I'm late. I'm sorry. I know I'm late. So I have another camera mounted here, so I can show you. Let me show you a whiteboard. You see that? So then I can also whiteboard some things, and yeah, and explain to people a bit more. People complained yesterday that I was going too fast and not explaining. So I decided that I'm gonna rig the best teaching, um, battle station that I can possibly have. So I'm sorry I'm late. I'm sorry, and I hope it's, the stream is gonna make it up to you. All right, so no more, unfortunately, no more keyboard cam. I know people. Let me just tell people we are live, and yeah, so I'm sorry about that. I'm just like breathing heavily from being late and rigging the camera situation here. Like I've been taping here, as you can see. I've been taping here and kind of moving things around, and yeah, it's been a battle to make it to 9 p.m. And on top of everything else, I forgot my water bottle. Okay, so we're gonna start. So how is everybody doing? I hope everybody is doing great on this Friday night. And let's see how many viewers we have. Okay, so on Twitch we have about 3 or 4 viewers, and live edu we have about 3 viewers. That sounds about right to me. So let's see. Are we live on Twitch? Yeah, we're live on Twitch. Great. So Twitch is working. Let me hear that. Okay. Yeah, okay, great. So everything sounds good. And yeah, it's looking good. And let me just do one more thing as a cleanup step before I start. And what I'm going to do is I am going to let me put the browser here. Awesome. So the browser is here. Let's see. Let's tweet this out. So live stream now. So we have Node.js, JavaScript. Awesome. So also, guys, feel free to tweet that out. People. The more people, the more questions, and the more questions, the more clarification we get on things. So yeah, feel free to tweet that out. Okay, awesome. So we are going to get started. So what have we done yesterday? So let's have a bit of a recap on what we've done yesterday. So let me see, what do we have here? So this is the Postgres, and awesome. So let's see if it's still working. 3000. Hi, Shandu16. How are you? Okay, so yeah, it's still working, and we see this is a sample title. And so our client app and our server app are both working. So we kind of left things off at the same spot yesterday. And let's see. So we have the client here and we have the server here. Okay, so this is the server. And then here we can actually exit this. So we can call this client. And we can call this server. Okay. So this is the server. And then we can actually exit this. So we have a clean slate on what we're doing. Okay, awesome. Okay, so before we actually move on, people that are, I'm sorry, I'm just closing Windows. I'm sorry. I know. I'm just like closing Windows. I'm trying. People are criticizing me. Oh my God. So, okay, so let's so let's take a step back here for a second, and kind of I want to put a question out there, to the people in the chat room. We have a client side app and we have a server side app. And what I want to do is I want to really go over what is happening. What is a fanboy project? What's a fanboy project? TV Josh is telling me on Twitch, as you guys can see on the screen here, that this is a fanboy. Is asking, so whether this is a fanboy project, and I'm not sure what you mean. Anything written in Node? I don't disagree. I definitely don't disagree. So it's just I'm pleasing the crowd. I am pleasing the crowd. So look, this is the worst, right? This is the worst because this is Node.js written on a Mac, sitting on a exercise ball. Oh, this is like fanboy with Bose headphones, iPhone, and like this is whole another this is a whole another level of fanboy. No, this is not inside of Starbucks, and unfortunately I don't have a Starbucks cup with me. But yeah, inside of a Starbucks on a 13-inch MacBook Air with 4 gigs of memory, and saying this is a perfect machine. Yeah, like Shandu16 is telling you here, I am far from being. So, Acidic Mushroom is saying I am missing a standing desk, and this is let me show you. Let me show you why I'm laughing. Where is it? I want to show you why I'm laughing. Okay, this one. Look. Where is it? Here. You see this? Your order of Smart Desk 2 is shipped. Oh my God, they were such a cliche. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. No, I'm the worst. All right, so before we before we insult your gracious host more than you already have, let's go ahead and get started. So what I want to go over is kind of what happens on the server side and what happens on the client side, and I want to, sketch that out, really like on a whiteboard, so people understand what is going on and what are the kind of moving parts that we have here. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so let me put on the whiteboard camera. Okay, so I hope you see that, and let me know if you can't hear me while I'm drawing on the whiteboard. This mic is pretty good, so you're supposed to hear me just fine. Okay, so let's delete this. Awesome. And I'm sorry for the reflection with the camera like here, but I couldn't get the lighting right. But I hope you guys are still seeing that, and it's not too distracting, and you can see my iMac here. So yeah, everything is reflected. And look at all these USBs. Oh my goodness, look at that. Okay, so what happens like on the server side once a request comes in? Okay, so I'll try to Matt, hello, this is for you. So stay tuned. Okay, so what happens on the server side when a request comes in? Okay, so when a request comes in, let's say a request is whether it's coming from the browser or it's coming from another client, right? So C is a client, all right? Then the request, they go to the server, all right? So this is the server. Now, in the server, we have what we call the MVC architecture. So the MVC architecture can be really, really confusing if you don't get everything right and if you don't understand like what is happening. Now, in bigger picture, what we have is a server, and on the other side, we have a database, right? But on the way here, this is where the magic happens. This is where like MVC happens. All right, so let's sketch that out. So once the server gets a response, then there is a routing system. Okay, so the routing system will basically check from a given list. So let's say /API/users, right? So it will say, okay, is this API users? No. 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 Great. Once it does happen to find something that matches the API users, it will route the request to the controller. Okay? So it will route the request to the controller, and the controller is basically seems like the entry point to the server, but actually there is an entry point before that. And no, it's not a cat, it's a dog. It seems like the entry point to the server, but this is not the entry point to the server. Like I said, the routing is really the entry point to the server. And once the routing kind of understand, okay, this is the rule that I want to answer, then it goes to the controller. Now, the controller can access the database directly, right? It completely can, and you can write, select star from and select from and whatever. But then what will happen is that you will get back a simple object, right? And that simple object is hard to work with because it's not well defined, and it doesn't have all the properties you want in terms of like, it's not a class, right? It's not an object that you recognize. It's just a simple JavaScript object. This is what we call a POJO, right? A plain old JavaScript object. So once the controller gets the request, we kind of understand from the controller, right? So now we're down here. What model are we working with, right? So what model are we working with? And that model can be, for example, user. Okay, so that user is mapped to the database for a table that is called users. Okay? So a JSON is a plain old JavaScript object, but it's not a class. It's not an object representation that is a one-to-one mapping with a table, right? It's like this. You know what I'm saying? It's the curly braces and curly braces on the other side. Okay? So when I say, and let me try not to confuse you here, and let me just finish the path here, and then we'll kind of go back to questions. And then the user is basically mapped to the database, right? So instead of here, let's draw it down here. So instead of the controller going to the database and getting back some data, and the data will be just like a simple object, right? What we do is the controller, so the controller will go to the model and query the model, right? It will tell it like find by something, and then this will get interpreted or translated or whatever and into a SQL query that will hit the database. Okay? And then this will come back to the model and come back to the controller, but this time it's not just like a ill-defined JavaScript object. It's now a user model. And when I say, okay, this is a user model, what I mean is that now this is a user. It has a first name, it has a last name, and then it can have validations and so on and so forth, right? So if we again go back to our whiteboard here, and let's delete this so it doesn't like confuse us. And I'll need a better eraser, so we'll find that in a second. So then the database goes back to the model goes back to the controller, and the controller basically goes back to the browser or the client, right? So the controller, and then this is where it doesn't matter in terms of whether do we render an HTML view or do we render a JSON. In terms of like when we render, this is a view, right? So this is, if we take it in basic terms, this is MVC, right? So the server is being hit. There is a routing layer. That routing layer is saying which controller does it map to. That controller says which model do we need to query. It queries the model. The model will then go to the database and run that SQL query. And when it comes back, it's going to be a model. Either it's going to be a model or it's going to be a model collection. But you have a well-defined object there. Yes, it's JavaScript, and yes, it's it's not strong typed, but it's a strongly defined object. Okay, so if we go to our server here, we can actually see that in code. So let me close that. No, this is not the one. Okay, so let me open that up here. Fullstack network. What is it? Reddit something. Micro Reddit server. All right, so if we follow the exact same thing here, and I will try to follow that like one-to-one, right? So let's go here, right? So we are now here on the browser, and we now hit our server and the routing layer. So let's go and look at that in the code, and there it is, the src index.js. This is our server, right? This is the entry point to our server. from there, as you can see, we define routes. So we can go to routes.js, right? Then we say, okay, this is the route /posts. And then I say, okay, what do I map it to? That /post, what do I map it to? And then I say, okay, map it to get all posts inside of the post controller. And if we go back to our sketch here, then we are now here and we say, okay, this is /users. We map it to the controller, and now it's a controller called users. All right, let's go back. And then we are here, so controller posts. And then we have a get all posts, right? So now we're in the controller. And this is where the kind of magic happens. And it calls a micropost.findAll, which will then map to our database and get us the data we want, again, as a well-defined object and as a well-defined model. All right, so then it will get the data here and then hit this promise and return the result as a response JSON for posts. If we go back to Postman, let's open up Postman. And we query our server. Where is it? My server is not running. I'm sorry about that. So yarn start. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so send. Let's see, it's still running. Oh, I'm not on the server. CD micro Reddit server and yarn start. All right, so now this is, the database is not running, so let's run the database. Okay, let's see now. Okay, great. So now what we can see again is the full kind of thing working. We do a GET request to HTTP localhost posts. So we can go back here and focus on that. So routes. And then we say app.get posts, right? Which will then map us to get all posts in the controller. So controller posts. Okay. And then what happens is that we query the model, so micropost.findAll, and once there is once the database returns with the request, we do a response.json of posts, and this is exactly what you see here, right? So we have a post ID 1, 2, 3, and 4, and all of them return from that controller and from that model. All right. So now let's pause here because I've been talking for a while. And let's read up on some of your questions. Okay, so I'm still in the air. If like declarative component style routing, HTML Webpack plugin, fucking up sometimes. I still prefer a route config style. After using both, I guess React Router does fit the model. What exactly is a promise again? Okay, so a promise is a way to do asynchronous code, right? So imagine you have some code here that is asynchronous, right? So what used to happen is that everything was a callback function. So you would do like some kind of function. So let's say this is some function, and then you would do param A, B, and C. And then when this function finished, what you would do is you would call another function with the result, and like so, right? What this did is it made a lot of code very, very complicated and not scalable. A promise basically means that now you can work with an object, right? So you can say P equals to some async code, and then you have A, B, and C. And now here you have a promise. And a promise is basically an object or a function that has two methods. It has a then and it has a reject. And what happens is once the code inside of this sum async code finishes successfully, it calls something internally. So this is internal. It calls a method called resolve. And I'm sorry, this is not reject, this is a catch. Or it calls again an internal reject. Okay? So once one of those methods are called, the external method of .then or .catch are available to you. Basically, they mean they're going to be called. And then you can execute your asynchronous code. So it's a way to, well, if you will, it's a way to track asynchronous code in a scalable way. And when you think about it, you say, okay, so what is so bad about callback functions? Well, what if you need to use a function when all the other functions have finished? So there was no way to do that in JavaScript before promises. And you could not chain those like promise, 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 right? Now, when you say, okay, so I have promise 1, I have promise 2, and I have promise 3, and then what I can say is promise dot all, and then run like the P1, P2, and P3 here, and say, okay, so when that happens, then do those things, okay? So I hope that helped, and let me see if there are other questions. Okay, you can call then on a promise after you resolve, which will dump the callback. Hamzak, how long have you been coding? Yes, after you resolve, in which reject, then and catch. Yes, so then and catch, I'm sorry, and I corrected myself. Player fine, 8 years professionally now. Hamzak, that's not a good, that's not a bad number, 8 years. You're calling resolve on the promise. Yeah, it means catch. Callback, TV Josh. Yeah, it's hard to explain in text. Kenzo will explain it well. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, man. He's good at his explanation. Thank you. Promises are also defined by an actual spec standard. Yeah, so it's an actual standard, and promise.all runs in parallel. So yeah, promise.all runs in parallel after everything else has finished. So when all of the promises are resolved, then promise.all will resolve. And then you can use, and this is like the best thing about it, that you can use the values from the promises inside of promise.all. So then you can use the value from P1 and the value from P2, and only then, whether something happened, you can use the value from P3. So again, a promise is a way to wrap asynchronous code in a manageable way and a trackable way. So it's not only trackable in the context of that function, it's trackable, is trackable in your code anywhere you pass that promise, right? So before that, what would happen is you would call some function, and only inside of that function you could have said, okay, is this function finished or is this function not finished? Now you can save a promise, and then once that promise either resolves or rejects, your code is trackable, right? So that promise is trackable all throughout your code, and not only in that specific namespace of that specific function. Let's see what we have here on Twitch. So async await is a better model than promises, but it's only starting to gain traction in the JS world. So here's the deal for me, right? Here's the deal for me, and this is where I am really, I don't want to start like a religious war here, but I'm gonna try and state my rant in an articulate way. I'll try to articulate it in an intelligent manner. So this is my frustration with the JavaScript world, right? So now I'm writing Ruby. Okay, so this is Ruby. And Ruby, I would say user equals user dot where, username equals username Kenso dev, and then dot first, right? So, and then I don't know, something with user, and then user. You know what I'm saying? So this code is like clearly synchronous. It clearly is synchronous, right? And what I'm and in JavaScript, you know, even before async await, this code would look like hell. So this code would look like user dot find by, and then here username kensodev, and I know I can pretty smoothly run between all languages. So then this would be a function with the user, right? And then here, this would be something with user, right? Now, with promise, this is not really better because this is here and then this is then, and user becomes this, right? But this code is still, I mean, this code still sucks. And with async await, you say, okay, user equals await, right? User dot, you know what I'm saying? User dot find by, and then here you're gonna say username kensodev, right? That's it. And then here you would do something with user. So what I'm saying is, and my argument about check her out. So what I'm saying is that for me, what I would prefer from JavaScript is a way to tell, hey, this code is not asynchronous, right? I am now working with the user. This code has no meaning before I got the response back from the database, right? So like if you look at this Ruby code here, this code, again, this code is clearly synchronous, right? I need to... Are you talking to me? Oh my goodness, are you talking to me? So then again, this is clearly... I love it that we have a private jokes going on in the stream now. I absolutely love it. So this code is clearly synchronous. Now this code is also clearly synchronous, but because of JavaScript, I need to write it in an asynchronous way. And this code is clearly, again, synchronous, but I need to, you know, just do this and just make it look more like normal code. So it basically took JavaScript years to come up with something that Python and Ruby had before Node.js even existed. So this is my like frustration. Are you talking to me? So this is my frustration with async and await, is that it's been, what you see now with async await is being overused from by people that came from JavaScript, from Java or from Python, and they say, okay, I just need that value, and I need to work with that value, right? That's kind of my rant, and yeah, I know I shouldn't be going on those rants here on the stream, but you know, sometimes it's stronger than me. All right, so while I take a sip of water here, fortunately I did not forget my my water bottle. I am open to questions. So Matt, actually I'm asking you specifically, XMatt Gaming here. Does that like explanation here, does that make more sense to you? And do you now understand MVC more than before, to kind of see that? Now this doesn't look so hot, but while I was talking, it might have looked better. Okay, great. Okay, great, awesome. So this was the point, this was the point to kind of make what we've done yesterday in lightning speed. To kind of make more sense of it. So while I take a sip of water, I want to, you people on Twitch, you people, I'm talking to you, and you people on live edu that are so quiet in the last couple of days. I am open to questions, so let me know if you have any questions so far, because what we're going to do now, what is this like? Not okay. So what we're going to do now is do the same explanation, but on React. So React, Redux, and state management on the client side, we're going to do that now. So if this is MVC, we've done the server side now, and we're going to move over to the client side. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. Okay. Professionally, I bet it's like 90% MVC behind APIs, but usually overkill if you're doing hobby website. So yeah, if you're doing a hobby website, and you just work, then you can do everything in basically the index.js. If you have a couple of endpoints, then you can use that. So Node uses event looping, which runs everything on single process. Does really faster than Java, which creates new threads for each request from the client, and when to use Node over Java, when not to use it. So Node over Java, dude, I don't know if Node over Java is really a decision you need to ever make. Usually when you need Java, it's like for a very specific task, and Node is not up for it. Usually when you need Node, it's two different things. I don't know if I would even put them in the same bucket. Okay, so seems like everybody's very clear on the MVC and on the server side. So what we can do is, one more. Twitch. You don't want to use Node in anything that has long-running services, numerical calculation, or the need to run stuff in parallel. Okay. For me, it's very clear. It's a very clear separation, and even for us now as a company, the company I work for is a very clear separation. Our gateway services, which basically means that we have about 40 microservices that every one of them do something. They are all 100% written in Python. And then we have a gateway tier, which gets queried by the front end. That gateway tier is written with Node. We have 3 gateways. And then those gateways will then query all the other services and get back the result. So for things like that, Node is perfect. Because you can also control the number of quote unquote threads that Node will open. You can control the level of concurrency that Node will use. And so at Acidic Mushroom, we have Nginx all the way through. So we have Nginx in front of the load balancer, Nginx in front of the gateways, and Nginx in front of each and every service. So we're relaying messages, and we're also saying, hey, let's say I need this specific project, and then for me to get this specific project, I first need to get permissions, and then I need to get the user, and then I need to get the company, and each of those is a different service. So the Node, what it will do is it will query all of the services and compose it to one response and send it back to the front end. And the previous version of our Node gateways was written with a simple Node and REST, and now it's GraphQL. So yeah, WebSocket is definitely a highlight. And no, we don't specifically use RabbitMQ in the gateway tier, but we use a queuing service and on all the other tiers. Okay, so now what we can do is we can move on to the client side. Okay, so client side. Let's see, final question on Twitch. So GraphQL, Cancel Dev, sounds like you have a sexy stack. Yeah, we do. We have a pretty extensive stack. Again, our front end is written previous version Angular, current version React. All of the gateways are written with Node, and all of the services are written with Python. And now, because I'm there, we're starting to do quite a bit of Golang as well. And again, for us, the separation is really clear. If it's a web service and it's not the gateway, it's Python. If it's the gateway, it's Node. If it's anything that is not web or the gateway, then it's Golang. Okay. So Shandu 16, I suck at client side front end. So this this like I suck is really common with people in the front end business, so to speak, and it's classic like JavaScript fatigue. Classic. And I agree with Kamzak again that there is a converge. Some of the frameworks are converging, and what I see is that the frameworks with big money behind it will survive. The framework without will just die. People starting to understand that they cannot place their bet on some guy sitting in the living room, even though it's open source and even though it's it's a library. People want something which like big community support. So that's what you default to usually. So player find GraphQL. You should look at the previous episodes on YouTube. We did an episode on GraphQL, and I implemented GraphQL using Node as well. Yeah, I think again Vue.js is really really nice, but I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it for anything production, anything that is launched to production. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at our client side. So before we look at our client side, where is my eraser? I can't find my eraser, so let's try something else. Let's try something else. Okay. So I'm like deleting here, erasing, so to speak, the whiteboard. And we can talk about the client side. Okay. All right, so let's talk about the client side. And again, if you guys can't hear me while I explain this, then let me know. Okay. Shandu 16, no, I do not use jQuery. Not anymore. There is absolutely zero reason to use it anymore. Okay, so the client side is a bit more complicated than the server side, than MVC. And I will try to explain it. Now, when I explain it, I explain React with, whoops, that's not what I wanted. Sorry. So Redux. Okay, so React plus Redux. But again, this is an explanation that is relevant to anything that is state management in the app. Okay, and I'm not gonna touch client-side routing at all. Okay, I'm not gonna touch client-side routing at all. Okay, so on the client side, we have a few things kind of running. We have a component. We have an action creator. We have a reducer. and we have state. Okay, so these are kind of the bigger picture, things in play, right? We have a component, which is the usually the view layer. We have an action creator. We have a reducer, and we have the state, which basically this is the database for our client side. Okay. So let's go ahead and delete this or erase this. And let's see what happens. So we have a component, and for the sake of example, let's call this component button. Okay, so we have a button, and once I click on the button, let me try to click on the button. What happens is I trigger the action creator. Okay, now the action creator will then, if we're talking to a database, or if we're talking to a server, the action creator will then call the server and then get back a response. And from the action creator, it will dispatch an action. Okay? So we click the button hit an action creator, which got to the server and got back a response, and then it dispatches an action up the stream. That action has something called a type. Okay? Now, based on the type, it's going to get hit by a reducer. Okay, sorry. This is bad. So, reducer. Okay? And then the reducer will look at what is there that is being carried by the action. So the action can carry data, it can carry object, it can carry nothing, right? But based on that, it will return a state. And then that state will get persisted to the app state, which will then go back to our component. Okay? So the button will trigger something called an action creator. The action creator usually is the layer that communicates with the server. It gets back a response and it dispatches an action. Okay, it dispatches an action, and then once it dispatches an action, again, there is a type, and then that action can carry any sort of data with it. It will get hit by the reducer, and the reducer will return a state for that reducer. And then that state will get persisted into our app state. And our app state, again, is our database, and then this will get connected back to our component. Whether our component cares about it or does not care about it is a different subject. Okay? So now, after I babbled for a long time, let's see what we have here. Guys, you guys are having a conversation that I'm not part of. Okay, so let's be here. I'm saying React dominates. React dominates 100%. Is app state the store? Yes, app state is the store. If you work in front end, you would know that as well. Okay, show me some real statistics and I'll believe it. My guess is that you don't, and I do. Maybe you should. Guys, don't be dicks. Yeah, clearly I couldn't have a different experience than you do. You can easily Google it, as could you, but still no stats. typical web debate. Oh my goodness, guys, my God. Let's all make peace here. Let's all make peace. Is action like event generator? Yes, action is like event generator, and so action creator is like an event generator, and an action is like event. And the type is basically just an ID, and then that kind of action will go back and kind of trickle down all of the reducers. And then the reducers literally have, if the type is this, then I care about it. If the type is not this, then I don't care about it. Okay. By the way, I don't really know whether that's true or not. What you guys are debating. I don't know whether React is bigger than Angular or not. I really don't. For me, the feeling is that there is a movement toward React, and that anything Angular, 1.x, people have been really, really badly burned, especially by the 2.0 refactor. And there is a huge movement towards React. Personally, I don't know a single company or a single person that is now developing with Angular by choice. Everything is legacy. But again, I mean that's my experience. But again, I'm like Silicon Valley, standing desk, and I don't know. Sometimes the Silicon Valley is a real bubble. Yeah. So let's see. Live EDU, no question, guys. What the hell? People on Live EDU, you can ask questions, and I can see those questions. So I can see you here, and I can see you, Pirate of the Sea, and Mike Wagner. I can see you guys. Okay, so TV Josh and Kemzak, chill. Okay. And let's continue. So, is Matt still around? Matt, I'm basically doing a private lesson here, because Cam and Josh are in their own little world. Let's see if Matt is still here or if he went. Yeah, he's still here. So, Matt, is that now clear on the client side? Okay. Player fine. Matt went. Be right back. Okay. All right. So, one thing. So up here, above where TV Josh and Cam Zach are arguing. So up here above the chat, I can't put my finger there. So above the chat, there are links to where the stream is, where the info is. So, if you enjoy this content and if you enjoy this stream, please consider to, follow or subscribe, or donating. Definitely use the chat on Discord. Discord is super, super active and really, really great. Again, the Discord is alive even when the stream is offline. So definitely go and check that out. And Cam Zach, again, thank you for yesterday. And people here, please use the follow or the subscribe or donate or chat or whatever. Just be active and let me know that you're here and if you enjoy the content or not. And if not, tell me why. Because I want to be better. And I think this rig that I put here for the whiteboard proves that. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my goodness, look at that. There's a whiteboard, and then there's no whiteboard, and then there's my mouse. Okay, so if you guys enjoy the stream or not, again, let me know. I would love to hear or read. Okay, so what I want to do now is to basically add the so Acidic Mushroom is asking, when is your desk coming in? My desk is coming in on Monday. So when my desk is coming in on Monday, what I'm going to do is I'm finally going to remove that bed from here because, like I said, this is my home office. And this is the guest bed when we have guests, but we haven't had guests in like a year and a half that slept here. So I'm going to remove that bed from my home office finally. and then I'm gonna rearrange a bit, and when I will stream next time, probably on next week, because I'm probably gonna stream over the weekend. Then there will be a wall behind me for clarity of the stream. So I hope you enjoy that. So let's see. Okay, so let's go ahead and write some code. No, so Shandu 16, I considered a green screen. I actually looked it up on Amazon as well. It's not really expensive. It's like $130, $140, including the lighting kit. And I just don't like my head floating around, you know? And I mean, I just don't know how nice it looks. You know what I'm saying? I saw a few things on Twitch. Okay, so I will let TV Josh and Camzak have their own argument here. And let's go ahead, and what are we going to do is implement. What are we going to do? We're going to implement the upvote, right? So right now we have a click here, right? So what I want to do is once something clicks, I want to trigger an action, and then I want to increment the number here. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that. So what we can do here is we can go to our micro post. Oh, I'm not on the client. Okay. So I will, now here is the deal for the people in the chat room. I will try to go slowly, okay? So if I go too fast, don't let me, okay? If I go too fast, let me know, all right? Cool, so let's go ahead and get started here. So we are going to go to our micro post presenter. And inside of our Microsoft micro post presenter, we have two glyph icons. One is the up and the other is the down. All right. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to open the micro post index, which is basically the container for this presenter. And I'm going to map a dispatch here. Okay, and this dispatch is going to be upvote, like so. And this is going to be accept an ID. And that will then call, you know what, let's go here and console.log the ID. Okay? So now here, what we can do is we can say on click equals to this, and then this dot props dot upvote, and this dot props dot ID. Okay, so let's see if that is working, and it's not, and that is because my client is not running. Okay. So let's start the client here. All right, so let's inspect element. Let's open up the console. And as you can see here, we have the ID of 3, and then the ID of 4, and then ID of 1, and ID of 2. Okay, here. Awesome. So now we're going to take it step by step. Okay, so what we have now, let's focus on our editor. What we have now is inside of the component, we are calling the action creator here. Okay, so first thing, we are mapping an action creator to a property on the component. So now the component can use that property. So as you can see, this dot props dot upvote, and then this dot props dot ID. Oops, sorry, and then this is going to call console.log ID. Okay, great. So now we can go to micropost actions. And one of our actions is load posts from server. And we are going to say that upvote here. And upvote is going to accept a dispatch and ID. And then what we are going to do is we are going to say upvote here. Okay, so let's go into micropost action types. And then this is going to be upvote, and this is going to be upvote. Again, oh my God. And then here we are going to dispatch, right? And action, so type is going to be upvote, and ID is going to be the ID. So then we can actually just call the ID here. All right? So let's go ahead and refresh. And really what seems to happen is that nothing changed. We click and it's still, you know, doing the same thing basically. So now from our micropost index, instead of calling console.log, what we're going to call is actions.upvote. And we're going to use ID and dispatch here, or actually the other way around, right? So dispatch and ID. And then when we, oh, so it's actions. Sorry about that. So, and dispatch, and then here. So this is dispatch. Okay, refresh. Okay. So dispatch and type is this, and then this. Okay. What is going on now? So let's look at the Redux DevTools and see at our state. We have a posts. And when we upvote, oops. Let's put that here. Loaded from the server, and then the state is still we have posts and actions. We have been upvote, and as you can see, like something happened with the posts here. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So let's look at micropost reducer. If this return initial state. Oh, this should be state, return state. Okay, so let's refresh, and now this will not close. Okay, great. So now what we can see here is that we have the action upvote, and we can see that the action has a type and it has an upvote. So in our reducer, what can happen is that we say if action.type equals to upvote, right? Now, what we need to do here is we need to grab the post with the ID from our post array, and then mutate that post array. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. Okay, so this one is, let's do a map here. So let's do state.map, and I never remember what to do here. So this is posts. So this accepts a post and an index, I think. Right, and then post, let's see, post dot votes equals to 0, and return post. And then here, let's return this. And have the upvote here. Okay, so let's see if that works. And click this, and great, it works. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is put an if here. So if post dot id equals to action dot id, then post dot votes plus equals 1, and I am going to return the post. Okay, so now let's refresh, and what we see here is that we have an upvote functionality. Okay, so you can see here, let me put that here. So we have a plus 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. Okay, and then we can basically do the same thing here. So or action.type equals to downvote, and we can actually put that here. So let's do up to down, and then let's import that here. And then if post.id here, and then if action.type equals to upvote, then do this, else do the opposite. Okay, so let's do that and save it here. So now before I do that, I want to show you that the upvote is working, but the downvote isn't. Okay, and now we can go to the micropost actions, and we can have a downvote, and then this will be downvote, and then I'm gonna import that here. So downvote, and then here in the micropost index, this is going to be up, and up is going to be down. This sounds weird. Okay, so then downvote, and in the micropost presenter, what I'm going to do is an onClick equals of this, and then let's close this so we can see that, and then this dot props dot downvote, and this dot props dot id. Okay, so now upvote works and downvote works. Okay, so here's -1, -2, +1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. Okay? So now everything is working in our little micro posts. And what I want to do is I want to have the same thing that I've done with the server side explanation, and I want to do the same thing with the client side. Okay, so here is our amazing, just like beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sketch. Wait a second, something happened. Okay, I'm back. All right, so here is our beautiful, beautiful sketch here. And what happens here is this is the button, right? So the button is this one, all right? So I click the button like I do here. I click the button and I trigger the action creator, okay? I trigger the action creator. Now, here is the button. So let's go to micro post presenter. Here is our button. I click on the button. So then this is here. I click on the button and then micro post index. I trigger the action creator. Okay, this is the action creator. All right. So going back here. Sorry, not here. Here. I trigger the action creator, and then the action dispatches, the action creator dispatches an action that has a type. All right, so let's look at that. So micro post actions, there is the upvote. It dispatches an action that has a type, and it can have any number of other properties, but it has a type, and a type is mandatory. Okay. So then I pass the type and I pass the ID. So let's go back to our amazing sketch. And then we trigger the reducer, right? By dispatching the action, we trigger the reducer. Okay, so let's go back to the code again. And we are going back to micro post reducer. And again, this is the reducer. And the reducer has some code here that is bad, but you know, we can refactor that in a bit. And we say if the action is upvote or downvote, then I do something. And then I return the state. Okay, so let's go back to our explanation here. So the reducer does something, it mutates the state, and then it returns a new state. And then that state is being persisted to the app state, which is a store. All right, so let's look at that in the browser while Cam, Zach, and TV Josh are still arguing here. So let's look at that. Can I dock that, by the way? I want to dock that. How do I dock it? Does anybody know how do I dock it? Can I dock it here? No. I want to dock it. All right, let's try something. Okay, let's try this. Okay. So let's refresh our app here. Let's try this like that. Okay. Okay, so let's refresh. And what we see here again is an action, and it loaded load from server. And then the state is going to be post. And you see that the diff from this action is this specific post. Now I'm going to upvote. And what you see here is that the action is here. And the diff from this is that vote, that post number 3 changed the votes to 2233. And then I trigger another action, upvote. And what you see now, the 2 changed the votes to 2. And we can keep doing that, right? And you see that, that the votes change to 10. And here the votes, oh, it should have changed to 11. So let's look at that. Change to 11. And our state is still looking like this. It's still post, and it has 11, and it has 1. Right? So here we can actually see the flow. And what we can do with Redux DevTools is to also, play some of that back. All right? So we can play that back and see what happens. And, we can go back to things and see kind of where we are in the state. All right. So, yeah. So let's look at Twitch and see if we have any comments or questions. So Cam, Zach, and TV Josh, I'm sorry guys, but you guys are having your own conversation. I'm not gonna butt in. So I create a drop-down menu when action is generated. When user clicks the button, then action.type equals whatever you want. It's just a string. So if you wanna do something, then you say action.type equals to get. So in the action creator, you get the response from the server, and then you say action dot drop down populated. It's just a name that you can identify. It's just a string. It's just a string type. The number button needs some padding. Yeah, it definitely needs some padding. But again, you saw that we did it in like 3 minutes. So considering this is 3-minute CSS, then it's fine. So RoboCat, thank you. If you go to Chrome Inspector, so let's inspect. And here, Redux. Yay! Thank you. Okay, great. Yeah, I missed that. Somehow I always use that, and I really didn't thank you for that. It's been a while since I've done Redux. Okay, great. Awesome. And it's looking good. So now our code is basically functional here. And what we want to do is we want to make it go to the server and persist that on the server. Okay? So let's see the question. So Shandu16, but what is Redux? Redux is the framework that manages that state, and it basically interacts with React in the way that once something happens in that state, it will reload your React component. Okay, so React is the component framework and Redux is the state management framework, and they work together in a way that React knows to interact with Redux propagating up, and Redux knows to interact with React going down. All right, so let's go ahead and persist that to the server. So we are going to do this. And then here we are going to have an update post votes. Okay. So this is going to be an update post votes. And then we are going to say that const post ID is going to be request.body.post ID, like so, right? And then what we're going to do is we are going to update that post and have one more vote, right? So let's go here. So sequelize update. So where do we have a where? Probably have. So where? No. So it's probably find by ID. So yeah, there is an ID and it will return a model, and then we can save it. So save. Is there a save? And returns a promise. Okay. Great. So now we can do a micro post dot find all. Oh, actually here, and then this is votes. So actually here we're gonna have an upvote, which is going to be request.body.upvote. Okay, so here there is we can have a const vote diff, and this is going to be actually this is a var, so this is let vote diff equals plus equals 1, and then if not upvote, then vote diff equals to -1. And of course we don't need the let here. Okay. Right, so then we do micropost dot find by ID. Right, we have a find by ID, and the ID is going to be the post ID, then post here. Okay. And then here we're going to do post.votes plus equals to vote diff. And then post dot save. Okay. And let's do res dot status. You know what? Let's for now that's fine. Okay. So now we have an update post votes. So now our controller is ready. So we can go back to our routes and we can say that app.post to posts and ID. Post, you know what? Let's do post. We'll have an update post votes. So we need to inherit that. So update post votes. Awesome. So let's go and where are we? Okay, so here, and let's go back and reload our server. And have this. So now if I post, I should get an error. And I do. So cannot read property votes of null. And our headers, application JSON, and our body needs to be post ID of 1 and upvote of false. Okay, so let's start the server. Unexpected U in JSON, a token position. Okay, so unexpected. Oh, okay, so this is here. I keep forgetting I write JSON and not JavaScript. Okay, so send. And I think this worked. Select ID title from post and then update. Votes equals 0. But why does this not return to us? Oh, I'm not returning. Okay. So let's do this and controller post, and then yeah, this is what happens. Okay, so here, and then here. So here we can have response dot send true. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna change it to put. Don't worry, I'm gonna change it to put. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that, and we get true. And what you can see is that it posts -4 now. And if I if I update to true, then what I see is that the ID is now 1 and upvote to 6. So awesome, that works out great. Okay, so now our server works. And I'm gonna change it to a put. Don't worry. And here in our action for the upvote, what we can do now is we can, and I never remember how to do it, so let's do it here. So let's go to the server first and say that access control allow origin here. Otherwise, this is not going to work. And I never remember how to do it. Fetch. Okay, so then fetch post. I never remember how to do it. Okay, so there it is. Fetch, then. No, I want post. Fetch. Method get. So I can just pass a method here. Okay, so let's do that. So let's do fetch to slash post. So HTTP localhost 4000 posts, and the method is going to be post. And then this is probably going to be a response. And here we're going to dispatch upvote. But what we need here is actually to post a JSON body. Body fetch. All right, so there it is, fetch. Okay, great. So then we can have a request object here. So const request object equals some object, and one of it is going to be method of post. And this is going to be the header, so let's copy that. Right, so here, headers, and then the body is going to be json.stringify of post ID is ID, and upvote true. Oops. Okay, and then here I can have the request object. So let's see if that works. So refresh that. So no issues. And then response to preflight doesn't pass. Access control. So access control allow origin is actually here. So let's see what's going on. So this should be here. So response.header and response.send true. So let's see response.json and then an empty object. Okay, so let's refresh. So access control allow origin is definitely here. Oh, I did not reload this. Okay, so let's reload. And refresh. Oh, I don't need to refresh the client. Oh man, why is this happening to me? Okay, let's see here. So HTTP localhost 4000 posts, and then response. So response to pre-flight request doesn't pass. No access control allow origin from localhost, but I do have an access control allow origin. So let's do it here. So yeah, I know I can proxy with Webpack, but this is like this Redux, this React starter kit that I used some weird Webpack configuration that I really don't want to get into for the purposes of the stream. So thank you for that. I know I can do that, but unfortunately, it's like too complicated for now. So what is happening now? I do see a response here. So let's go into here, network, and post. Oh, it did a get. It didn't do a post. So something here is screwed up. Let's see. So only the upvote is implemented anyway. So let's look. So the method is post. The body is a JSON. Right. This looks good actually. So the request object, everything here looks fine. So let's refresh here. And oh, now it's working. So yeah. Oh, this is options though. It's not posting. Yeah, it's not posting. It's only calling the options. So yeah, this is options, but it's not posting. And options is the pre-flight one. What am I missing here? So post ID and an upvote. Maybe you're missing setting it for fetch. No, it's here. So request object, and then I pass request object here. So I'm definitely not missing that. That would be a rookie mistake. Fortunately, that's not the case. So downvote is working because it's not connected to the server yet. So this is doing... oh, you mean set it for options? That's actually a good idea. The question is, what is coming back from options? So I know you don't know. It's like a rhetorical question. Okay, so let's go here and say so let's do this. And this is post options. Okay, so this is post options, and then this is post options. Right, so then options, so then routes and app dot options to, I'm not even sure that's a part of Express, but no better way to find out. So post options. So posts. So access control request method is post. Content type. And where's the response? So no, I don't see the response with the header. Let's see. Express options allow header. All right, so let's see. App.options. I don't want to use this. Well, I can use this. I can use this for allow cross domain. Okay, that's a good idea. So do I have HTTP installed? No. Pip install HTTP. Okay. So HTTP localhost 3000 posts, and then post. No. So curl-x post HTTP localhost posts -- verbose localhost 4000. What is happening? Curl post HTTP localhost 4000 posts. Type error, cannot read. Oh, I see. Okay, so I actually think let's check that. No, I don't want to. I don't want to complicate things a bit. So let's do that for a second, just for a second, and let's use this CORS above everything else. So access control allow origin, and then let's restart our app. Yeah. Forgot the body. Okay, so this still doesn't do anything. So, but now access control allow origin. You see this? So access control allow origin is returning. And it's returning fine. So access control allow origin is star, but this is still not posting. So this is still not posting. So response.json and post.save. So you know what? Before we even do post.save here, let's check something. So no. This is weird. Okay, what might happen here? Okay, so let's refresh. No, it's still only doing our options. It's not upgrading to a post. And even though now we're getting to access control allow origin, and when I go through Postman, everything works fine. And when I go through curl, and dash dash. Is it dash dash data or is it? I never remember. Okay. Yeah, it's saying cannot. Cannot. So let's go here to our client. Close this up here. Let's do this. So what is happening now? Okay, so now something is happening. Type error cannot read property votes of null. So votes, so this means the post ID is not being sent, but I do see post ID here. Oh, I think I know what is missing. So let's look at the server here. And server index. Before that, let's go back to the client and say that content type is application JSON. Okay, let's look at the server. So yeah, it can't find the post ID on the body, which means that our node side is not really understanding that this is a JSON and parsing it. And now it's going back to fetch API cannot load, header fields, content type is not allowed by access control, allow headers in pre-flight. But we established that this is working already. Oh, access control, allow headers. So let's see that. Access control, allow headers. Okay. Oh, this is not what I want. src index. This is what I want. Okay, great. Here I have it. So here. Okay, so now let's look at network and we have the post. Oh my God. No, this is still the options. Yeah, I know. I know. Let's do that. All right, so let's do that. Let's remove all of this because in real life, I'm anyway going to use an Nginx proxy. All right, so let's do this here. Awesome. So now what I'm going to do is look at the client, and here there is the server main.js, and this is the part that is I know course can work, but it's just like, so TV Josh, I want to explain because I don't know if you've been on the stream here, but in any kind of a stream that I do, I have a theme, and I have a theme and I have something that I want to get working. And if the thing that currently is holding me back is not contributing to my theme and not contributing to me working on the, on the subject that I want to work on, then I simply do not, hold back. It's not worth it. It's So for it's there is no educational value for me hammering it. There's no education. There's certainly no educational value for me because in real life I will always have an Nginx in front of both of them, and I will never have an API on a different endpoint or a different port than my client side. Never ever in my life. So there is no value in hammering here. Um, Okay, so let's do this. So app will require. So this is just Express. And then here we have a content type. And then we can actually request that here and have that as a proxy from Express. So we can probably do app.use slash posts, and then here function request response and next here. Right, we can probably do that here. But what I want to do actually, instead of messing around with this, let's see, Webpack dev middleware, public path. Okay, so here I can probably have a proxy. So let's see. So Express proxy would work, but I actually want a proxy middleware here. And a Webpack proxy middleware. Let's see if it has proxy. I don't see proxy. Advanced API. So we have invalidate. So let's search this and then proxy. Okay, so unfortunately not. You're probably going to use some proxy wrapper like Node HTTP proxy. Sometimes in JS, it's like so fragmented. HTTP proxy middleware. Yeah, looks better. Right, this looks better and clean. Yeah, JS world. This makes sense. Okay. All right, I have an idea. I have an idea. Okay, so this is here. Remove this. And then server. Listen on 80. I don't need a server name. Server default. Okay. Okay, so then it says no, this is still not good. Okay. So bottom of that example, you mean what, the last one? This one? So Webpack module.export. So Webpack hot middleware and then plugins. So dev server. Yeah, but this is the old one. Now this is Webpack 2. This is actually Webpack 1. So Webpack dev server, and the Webpack dev server is Webpack 1, unfortunately. And Webpack dev middleware does not have a proxy. This is so annoying. Yeah, I know. This is like so annoying. It's like it's literally add zero value. Um, okay, let's take a step back and try to add cores to Express. We might need to install some npm module like any other. This is good. This is good actually. This is like the approach of the JS land to everything. Just make it a desktop app. Okay, so let's do npm install cores here on the server. So let's do yarn add cores. Whoops. Yarn add cores. Great. And now cores is express and app use cores. Okay. So let's do that on our, oh, shit. So let's go to the server and yarn add course and then go to src index.js and then require course. So then import from course and then app.use course. Okay, let's try that for a second. So refresh, and of course our client is not started, so let's go ahead and start it. Okay, so great, now it's working and course is working beautifully. So we have an upvote, and the upvote is actually going to the server. And we can actually look at the server log here. Right, so let's actually like bump it up here. And let's do 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we can see 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it updates them correctly. Yeah, so this was a bit of an adventure, but it ended up fine. So what we're going to do now is git st git add here -p. So course we do want this, we do want this, we do want this, we do want this, we want this, we want this. What else? So now git commit -m, and we have the upvote and downvote working, and then git push, and now on the client side git add, and I actually don't want the other one, so git add src-p, and I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, I do want this, I do want this, and then git check out package and yarn, or actually git diff package and course. Okay, so git checkout package and yarn, and git st, great, and git commit -m, working upvote and downvote, and git push. Yeah, so I added the course module. As always, a module solves everything with the JS world. All right, so github.com Fullstack network, and then Fullstack network, we have the client and we have the server. So Reddit client, Reddit server, because why not Webpack Dev middleware? Because it doesn't support proxy as far as I can see. So that's a good idea actually, TV Josh. Right, so let's refresh here. Oh, that's a good idea before I stop the client and the server. But that's not your fault, that's mine. So let's refresh. Okay, so I'm actually using Webpack too. So let's see here on network, and this is the options. So access control allow origin, and access control allow headers, and allow methods. I think allow methods was really the thing that made the difference, because allow headers, I had it, and allow methods was the one that I was missing. So I think really that's the one. And actually, if I go to Express Course GitHub, it's probably just adding 3 headers. So let's look at lib and index, and it's probably adding methods and origin and preflight and preflights. Yeah, that's it. Yep, that's about it. Well, with a lot of checks, but yes, that's about it. Okay, time flies when you have fun. And now this is the favorite time of the day. And the favorite time of the day. And actually, you know what? I think we didn't have any new followers today. Didn't we? We really didn't have any new followers today? This is disappointing. Let's see if we didn't. Or maybe I'm just babbering. So yeah, no followers, no beats, no nothing. Let's see. Cancel. Yeah, no new followers. We had a lot of viewers, but not followers today. I'm kind of disappointed, to tell you the truth. I'm kind of disappointed and a little bit broken. TV Josh is following. Yes, TV Josh, you saved my day. This is awesome. Thank you. This is awesome. Thank you so much. I will refollow. Thank you, Player Fan, for the refollow. Thank you for the refollow. Awesome. Okay, so this is where the stream really shines. And this is the time where I open it up to Q&A. And as always, Q&A is there are no rules, except don't be a dick. So there are no rules. You can ask career questions. You can ask, interview preparation, and whatever. So, this is your time. And if you haven't seen the stream, then I take the time and I answer the questions very seriously. I don't take it lightly that you guys take the time and watch me code and do that. So I appreciate that a lot. So if you have any question or comment or suggestion, then this is your time. Okay, someone is sending a link. What is it? Okay. Okay. Great. So, is there a point here? This looks good though, by the way. Okay, I don't know what to do with this, but okay. But this looks good. I really like it. I'm gonna pocket it. Okay. So time for a question, guys. Don't be shy. I don't know, how many viewers do we have on Twitch right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11. And Matt is really quiet. Matt is really, really quiet. And on live EDU, we have about 7. So people on live EDU, I can actually see your questions here as well. So really do feel free to, go ahead and ask your questions if you have any. If not, then, I'm going to go. I have a big ride tomorrow anyway, so I'm going to take this time to sleep. Excuse me. Okay. So no questions. I think everybody got in a bit of a shock from the Zach and from Zach and TV Josh's argument. Um, so, what's your favorite app so far that you can share? You mean my favorite app that I built? um, so I don't know if you mean the app that I built. Um, but by the way, um, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Um, by the way, it's not an easy task. Would you say React is dominant in the front end world? This is. I am not going there. I am definitely not going there. But this is good. This is entrapment. Oh, let's not start that. Let's not start that again. All right. Um, are you talking to me though? Where is poor Stevens? Where is he when we need him for entertainment value? Stevens is not around. Stevens has left the building. Okay, so in because there are no questions, I'm not gonna force it and sit here for 10 minutes. While we're clearly finished with what we wanted. Go to the back end section of it. What do you have a specific question for the back end section? So here, you mean the back end section of Shandu here? Back end, yeah. What about it? Okay, I am here. Kamzak, no problem. Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for the donation yesterday. Thank you. This is not gonna be a good ride, but thank you. I'm riding with the race team tomorrow, so it's gonna be balls to the wall. It's not gonna be an easy ride. I think it's about 85 miles. Probably gonna be around 85 miles, and it's like super fast. So, and I'm not in shape, so balls to the wall, and I'll try to hang on. Difference in those databases. Let's see what we have. Databases. So difference in databases is hard to explain, and kind of succinct, and articulate it in a way. But databases are, kind of when you sent one yesterday. We have a donation message. So if someone sends a donation, I do see it here. Wait a second. 2 minutes ago. Wait a second. Let's see, just a sec. Did you use this one or the one from yesterday? Which one did you use? Oh, I see. You used the one from yesterday. So the one from yesterday, there is no... the one in the bottom. Which bottom? Yeah, I see it. But unfortunately, there's no notification because I moved to Stream Pro. So... donation block. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Shit. I'm sorry. I did not connect the two. I need to put it on the bottom of the stream. So Zach, thank you so much. I got your donation. Thank you. And there was just no like this the zombie. So yeah, the Stream Pro is the new one. And I will put it here shamelessly. I will shamelessly put it here. It went through. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for today and for yesterday. And I'm sorry you didn't get the notification, but I changed it today to Stream Pro, because Stream Pro is really really nice. With, you can put the Twitch chat. You see it here, and really really thank you. So thank you for yesterday, and I really dig the message yesterday, and I really dug the message today as well. So thank you for that as well. Even more so than the donation. Thank you for that as well. It means a lot. All right. So going back to the answer about the database. No, don't worry about the Steam argument. I mean, yeah, I'm fine with that. I only modded one of your messages. I mean, one of both of you. I'm not sure which one. But yeah, it gets intense sometimes. So let me go back to the answer about the databases for Shandu. So databases, if I try to kind of put them in groups, then databases are divided into three main groups. Okay. So two major groups and three kind of loose groups, right? So two major groups are whether you are document caching or whether you are whether you're a relational database, right? So once you go down that fork, then it really matters into how you store your data and how you normalize your data. And live edu, I am Clayton Ray. Hola. All right, so let's go back to the question on Twitch. So document-based databases are meant to store documents that are denormalized in a way that you can store all of the data for a specific object on one document. And relational databases are normalized in a way that user is going to be stored in the users table and reviews is going to be stored in the reviews table. And when you want the user reviews, then you're going to join those two tables together. Beyond that, you obviously have, again, if we go back to the three groups, then you have caching. And caching, you can use either you can use an in-memory cache or you can use an in-memory cache backed by the disk, which is either Membase or Redis or anything like that. So for me, again, being experienced and being around the block a couple of times, for me right now there is a simple set of rules. I use Postgres for everything that you cannot prove. Postgres will not scale. If I need to cache, I use Redis unless you can prove I need memcached. All right, and if I need a document-based cache, a document-based database, I use Cassandra unless you can prove to me that I cannot use Cassandra. And again, this goes back to my philosophy that I said on the stream many times before, that I never look at like things like that. All right, because things like that will tell you to weigh solutions, right? And when you weigh solutions, then the solution with the most feature looks best. But you need to weigh the problem. And when you weigh the problem and when you understand what your problem is, then you can understand your solution better. And you can understand your decisions about your solution better. So for me, if I'm saying, okay, I have an app and here's a problem, right? I need a database, which is a problem. I need a database that is easy to backup, easy to manage. I need it to be really, really easily deployable in the AWS infrastructure. And I need to have some kind of JSON support, but the rest of it is relational. Boom, Postgres. I don't even care that there is Elasticsearch and MySQL. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I weigh the problems. And when I weigh the problems, the solutions, they come easier. So I hope that helped, and I hope that was your question, because you just like gave me this and tell me talk about the databases. So I talked about the databases as best I know how. All right. So yeah, unless we have more questions, then again, thank you everyone for being here. Zach, thank you for the donation. It means a lot. And thank you for the kind word for the stream. I really, really hope that you found this format interesting, which means that we have a whiteboard, and we explain things on the whiteboard, and then we take the whiteboard and we move it into the computer. So I really, really hope you like that solution. It took a bit to do that. So look, I want to show you how ghetto it is. You see that? So this is how it looks. It's like a camera mounted on like a little flexible arm. Here's the camera here, and this is my microphone boom, and the microphone and keyboard. So yeah, I really, really hope you liked it. And now you see why I was 7 minutes late. It's for this. So thank you. I really dig it that you like the promises. And yeah, course sucks, and this is why you never deal with it. Never ever deal with it. You always proxy through Nginx. And you never worry about like cross domain or anything like that, because the server can do any request it wants. Okay, so thank you everybody. It was a pleasure as always. One thing I do want to kind of mention is that I am probably gonna be streaming over the weekend as well. I don't know about schedule, and I don't know when, but I usually post everything on Twitter. So make sure you follow on Twitter. Everything is up here, as always, above the chat. So make sure you follow on Twitter, and let me know what you think about the stream. HOC, higher order component. Yeah, I can make a stream about higher order component, of course. I actually written quite a bit of higher order component post. I think I written at least higher order component. So I've done this, and then what have I done again? Mix panel, higher order component. Let's see, I wrote a bit. So yeah. So here are the posts that I wrote about these subjects. I gave real life examples of like what is the higher order component and when I use it, how I inherit the higher order component, what I use it for. I gave one little perfect example like this one. Well, I don't want to say it's a perfect example because it might not be a perfect example. What I'm saying is I gave a small enough example that it's easy to understand. And I also wrote about the mix panel one, which uses the higher order component. So go check that out. But I can definitely make an episode about that, and I can make an episode about probably any subject you can think of. So if you have requests, you can go to avi.io/Reddit. So you can go here. There is a Reddit for the Fullstack network here. And you can actually, vote on subjects and say what you want to see on the stream. There's a link to the Discord and so on. And again, I highly, highly encourage you to join the Discord. Again, the link is avi.io/chat, I think. Or no, it's /Discord. All right, so avi.io/Discord. So we can do that as well. And yeah, thank you so much and have a good night. And if you come visit me on the streams over the weekend, then go ahead. Yeah, thank you so much again and have a great weekend. Bye, guys.